Well, it has been a back and forth battle that has consumed almost the entire year in West Virginia, but now will ultimately come down to a state Supreme Court ruling after the High Court issued a stay yesterday evening. But could the legislature take up the issue of school vaccination exemptions first? Anna Saunders is live in the studio to explain it all for us.
Well, Peyton, the State Board of Education said they are now no longer honoring religious exemptions following the pause by the West Virginia State Supreme Court and pending the court's eventual ruling. Based on the court's scheduling order, it is possible, though, that the legislative branch could take this up before the judicial one. A Raleigh County judge's permanent injunction ruling just before Thanksgiving granted religious exemptions for childhood vaccines, but only temporarily, as the West Virginia Supreme Court has now put a pause on that, pending their eventual rule. A spokesperson for the governor's office said one way or another, eventually the state will honor religious exemptions in public schools, saying, quote, "Our office is currently reviewing the order. Whether we prevail in the courts or prevail with the legislature, West Virginia will ultimately join the other 45 states that protect and defend religious liberty and will no longer be such an outlier on vaccine policy." But the House striking down a religious exemption bill last year is what created the legal back and forth between the state school board and the governor's office. Despite the lack of legislative action, Governor Morrisey said his executive order allowing for religious exemptions was still good. But the state school board said they would continue to follow state law, which prompted multiple lawsuits.
The vaccine debate has been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I really feel for parents and for schools and administrators on no matter what side of the issue that you're on. This is exhausting for everyone, and this is not how government is supposed to work.
So ultimately, the state Supreme Court will have to answer the question of whether or not Morrisey's executive order, which says the Religious Freedom Act applied to the vaccine law, allows for the exemptions, whether or not that trumps state law, which only allows for medical exemptions.
I would like for the legislators to step up and make the decision on this and offer to the parents what 45 other states offer to their parents and students within their state.
And it is possible the legislature could act first. The last Supreme Court deadline for responses is mid-February. The legislative session begins in January.
I'll also be putting in a bill for vaccination exemptions, and I'll put in a bill for alleviating mandates completely. Just getting rid of them and let parents opt in instead of having and forcing them to opt out.
Young, who says the state's strong childhood vaccine laws are something to be proud of, is anticipating another vaccine debate this session. She said the governor pushing this despite the legislature acting last session has been an overreach.
I know this week he said, whether it's in the courts or through the legislature, we're going to get this through. That's not the executive's job. The executive's job is to carry out the functions of the agency. It's the legislature's job to make the laws. We said we don't want to do this.
The scheduling order for the state board's appeal says the respondent's brief is due by January 26th, and then the reply brief from that is due on February 16th. After that, the Supreme Court can start considering. Live in the studio, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.